Now, the federal government has demanded for full autopsy on the sudden and mysterious death of Ìtùnú Babalola, a Nigerian sentenced to 20 years imprisonment in Côte d'Ivoire for alleged human trafficking. This was in a statement signed by the chairman Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Honorable MrsDabiri-Erewa, which states that Ìtùnú's case was drawn to the attention of NIDCOM about 5 months ago. MrsDabiri-Erewa described the death of Ìtùnú as a tragic blow, which came at a time the Nigerian mission in Côte d'Ivoire had already paid and engaged the services of a lawyer to handle her appeal case. Ìtùnú Babalola was allegedly sentenced to 20 years imprisonment for an offense she did not commit. She had accused an Ivorian of robbery at her residence and insisted on filing a case against him. The accused, who happens to be related to an Ivorian policeman, asked her to drop the case, but she insisted on getting justice. Well, joining us now is lawyer and social commentator Olayinka Oladaniels. Good morning.
Good morning.
And via Zoom is strategy consultant Dikbo Oyewole. Dikbo, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, Dikbo, several times you and I have spoken about how Nigerians get treated abroad. But first, what are your impressions of this developing story, if I may put it that way, because the government has talked about having an autopsy done with regards to Ìtùnú Babalola. What are your impressions?
Well, firstly, for me, it is a very sad event. It is a very sad thing, because this entire situation was brought to the fore a couple of months ago, and I believe that NIDCOM and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they have tried to intervene, see how they could get her out, or to see that she was treated fairly. But unfortunately, things have ended up this way. And from the report we got months ago, ever since she was identified as a Nigerian, her fate seemed to have been sealed. So for me, that questions why the whole hostility against Nigerians. But yes, talking about how Nigerians have been treated abroad and how the government have said that they want an autopsy being done. What I'm looking forward to is what they're going to do next after the autopsy results are out, and how they intend to respond to this diplomatically or in any other way. That for me would also send a message, because time and time again, we've had these conversations around how Nigerians have been treated abroad. A lot get treated very poorly, and then there seem to be no consequences. So for me, I would want to see if this would be one of those other times that we have seen certain bad behavior or maltreatment of Nigerians abroad go unpunished. But for me, I would say again that it has been a very, very sad news to hear that Ìtùnú had to die, because I mean, like you rightly said, she was wrongly accused because she was trying to get justice for someone who stole her belongings. But unfortunately, the whole situation was mishandled by the entire government of the country over there. And yes, for me, I really want to see how the Nigerian government will proceed from the results of the autopsy when they are out. And I would also want to suggest that somehow, if there be someone from the Nigerian embassy or commission over there that can also maybe be part of the process, because I mean, from what we're hearing, there's a lot of bias against her. I mean, there was a lot of bias against her while she was alive, so we need to be sure that the autopsy results does reflect what really happened to her. So, I mean, there needs to be a lot of some form of oversight with how the autopsy is being carried out and with what the eventual results will be, because we don't want any foreign business and we want justice for Ìtùnú.
All right, we want justice for Ìtùnú. Let's bring the conversation to the studio to Olayinka Oladaniels now. From your perspective, all she wanted was justice, and it ended that she had to die in the process with regards to that, because at the end of the day, it seems every other thing worked against her. When you look at the story in detail, someone stole from her and she decided to go the way of justice and then everything went down the drain. Some other persons are saying perhaps because she changed her name to a particular name, she didn't have the right documents, and so all of this came to play and everything just quickly went off. What do you make of this?
First of all, my condolences, and also I sympathize with the family of the deceased. Fortunately, we are here. It's sad. However, for me, all their stories, to me, they are only just stories. Now, if we're talking about justice, yes, with federal government on waiting for the autopsy, the result of the autopsy of this disease. But then, I want to see it beyond the autopsy.
Okay.
Whatever the result of the autopsy is saying, whether it's a natural death, whether some other things happen, that should not end this matter. And why did I say that? There are allegations of changing the narratives.
Okay.
She went to report, somebody stole things from her. Now they changed the game because she insisted that she wanted justice. Then, from the allegation, we're told that the DPO of the police station probably, the relative of that, and they changed it. So now, this is where the diplomatic relationship comes in. Right. And this is where I expect people like Madam Dabiri, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, and all the people, and also because I know that every countries, we have Nigerian communities, and they have their structures also. So all these people need to come together to harmonize what they need to do. They need to investigate this right there in Côte d'Ivoire. They need to investigate. They need to know if these allegations, if they are true. Now, if the allegations are true, then we need to use armor. Yes, Nigeria used to use their diplomatic armor to whoever that is found culpable should face the law. Because we cannot just say, okay, autopsy, and the next thing what you see in the end when there's no result and everything just died up. Look, we must take responsibility for our people, and we must also understand that every Nigeria, anywhere we are in the world, whether we are in here or outside, the life of every Nigerian is important to us as Nigerians. And if that is the case, whether you are in Nigeria, whether you are outside Nigeria, at least this must face adequate investigation. This must be seen to the last, and we must see justice, not just justice being done, but seen to be done. Because if we don't, we have this in Nigeria, happening in Nigeria. You go to police stations, you report case, and they change it. They change the narratives. We have it. Now, it's sad if we have this happening in Africa. Africa is just next door to us, just around the corner, like, maybe 900 and something kilometers away from Nigeria if you travel to Ivory Coast. And if we have also, we are one of the biggest, business partners of these people in Africa. And if you take so much from us, then our people are involved. And another question, how come? Is about because from the information gathered, we understand that it's about 5 months ago that probably the NIMCOM is, got to know about this. No, that is wrong. I'm not saying they are not doing. They are not working, but they are not doing well.
In what terms?
This madam, this deceased girl has been in prison since 2019. This matter came up, I think, September or something later, 2019. She's been in prison. This is 2021, 5 months ago. We just find out. What happened? The community, the Nigerian community in Côte d'Ivoire, what did they do when she was arrested?
We don't know if she was part of that community. That is another aspect.
She need not be part of that community as long as oh, she's not a citizen of the she's not an Ivorian, right? If she's a Nigerian, now we are saying that I'm somewhere maybe resident in US or resident in a country, and the Nigerian communities are there, and they don't know if there's any trouble with me, and they won't come to my aid, even whether I am
part of it or not.
Because
come to my aid.
Thank you. You come to my aid because I belong to the country. So we can sojourn anywhere. She has gone to sojourn, probably working or doing her business and all that. So whether she's financially committed as because they have this group and associations and all that, but first she's a Nigerian.
Right.
So meaning she belongs to that association of the people in diaspora. So they should have raised this issue earlier than what, I mean, the time we find about it. They should have come in before NIMCOM even, they should have informed NIMCOM long before now. Right. Before the 5 months they claim that they got to know about it. But some would say that there are also a lot of Nigerians, because this has generated a lot of conversation on social media, where you see a lot of persons coming out to say that there are lots of Nigerians in Ivorian prison. Not just Ivorian prison.
Across the world, lots of Nigerians. But regards to the story, that there are lots of Nigerians in Ivorian prison, it is not just Itunu. So now it begins to beg the question, what is the Nigerian embassy doing to secure their release, to understand what the situation is with these persons? And that brings the question to you, Dikbo, that in 5 months, could the Nigerian embassy and NIMCOM have done something more to ensure that this girl was released? Was there anything they could have done differently to save her?
Yes, I believe there are several things that they could have done. And there were also reports that she got a lawyer, she's spent over ₦1 million of her own personal money. And on a few occasions, folks from the embassy have shown up to see her. But I believe that a lot of diplomatic pressure could have been put in place to ensure that she was released, and all of this didn't happen. But also, going back to what Olayinka said, yes, I believe that aside from whatever results the autopsy brings out, or whatever the result the autopsy reveals, that there need to be consequences. Just August of this year, a couple of months ago, we reinforced bilateral relations with Cote d'Ivoire. And we also need to understand that I believe in the last 2 years, they've had a lot of exports to us to the tune of over $1 billion. So the question is, what are we doing about that? And in August, we were talking to them about increasing bilateral relations with infrastructure in the maritime industry to see how trade can be done a lot more easier. Can we revisit that conversation? Are there other means of consequences? Because for me, I believe that yes, a lot of things still need to be done to ensure that there are consequences for treating Nigerians badly abroad.
But are there precedents of we showing this diplomatic might with countries that we do business with? Have we seen that? Have we set a precedence ever since that we have been reporting cases of how Nigerians are treated in certain countries, not just West African countries, but across the world? Have we set that precedence? Are you confident that we'll be able to pull this diplomatic might? Or are we just interested in trade?
No, we haven't, and that is why I am saying it again. You would also remember that this is not the first time I'm giving this recommendation. This should be like the 3rd time this year where we've had issues of Nigerians abroad being treated poorly, either being assaulted or being killed. And so far we give these recommendations and then nothing happens. But we will keep having these conversations. So yes, it is true that it hasn't been any precedence, but I believe that they can always start now. There's no better time to start something than to start it now, even if you haven't been doing it before. But yes, we must look beyond trade, and we must look at the value of the life of every Nigerian, both home and abroad, and be able to send a message that once a Nigerian is identified in your nation, they must be treated with all due respect. And which goes back to what I keep saying on this platform and many others about Nigeria and our pride of place. We need to understand that as the nation, we have the landmass with the largest population of black people on the planet. We have a say. That means something. We shouldn't just be calling ourselves the giant of Africa, and it is just a title that we hold out there, or people see or that we call ourselves, there needs to be deliberate action. There needs to be deliberate action. Enough is enough. People should not see Nigerians as easy targets. We keep having these conversations and interestingly, and unfortunately, we have this conversation in a lot of African nations. So the question is, what is the problem exactly? Because in the end, we all call ourselves Africans. At some points, we're part of ECOWAS, at some points, we're part of the AU, but somehow when you hear that somebody is a Nigerian, there's a lot of bias against them. You want to assault them, you want to kill them, you want to jail them because they are Nigerians. So we need to address this whole problem around people seeing Nigerians and seeing easy targets, starting from our own identity. But I believe that, like we have said before, this can also set a precedent. The government of this nation, the foreign ministry, NIDCOM, they need to set a precedent. They need to be aggressive about this. Whatever the autopsy result brings or whatever it reveals, they need to be aggressive with this. Because we have had this conversation, we keep having it, enough is enough. Nigerians cannot continue to be disrespected abroad. We have Nigerians in different parts of the world who have the legitimate documents, carrying a legitimate trade, but they're afraid to move around. Because once they are identified as Nigerians, they become easy targets. So what is the problem exactly? What is our own government doing about it? If we believe that issue of setting our own public image will take some time, that is not a problem. But what are we doing in the interim? What consequences are we putting in place for people to understand that Nigerians are not easy targets for you to assault, for you to jail anyhow, or for you to kill? That message needs to be sent, and it needs to be sent now. Because Itunu didn't have to die. That's really just a summary of the entire conversation. She really didn't have to die. Either she changed her name or not, she didn't have to die. Because we from the reports we got, it was quite clear that once she was identified as a Nigerian, he said, someone from Bulgaria said, oh, she's going to die here. So either she changed her name or not, they had a set objective in mind to cover up the case. Because the thief in question happens to be the nephew of the DPO. So how long is this going to go on? How long is this going to go on? We need to set a precedence. We need to set a precedence. Enough is enough.
Enough. Right. Let's bring the conversation to the studio. We need to set a precedence. That's what Dikbo is saying. Enough is enough. And it is often said that charity begins at home. Now, if we want countries to respect us and our people, where do we begin? I mean, we can't keep being easy targets, like he pointed out.
Yeah. It's funny. When we look at this thing outside this country, I cannot give you what I don't have.
Right.
That is number one. Two, if you want me to treat you well, like there's a saying that says, address the way you want to be addressed.
Yeah.
At home, what is the welfare of the citizen at home? What is the respect for a Nigerian citizen at home? We see, there was a time I worked with Legal Aid Council, and we've been to prison several times, I mean, to interview inmates, and you find out that a lot of people are in the prisons for no reason. A lot of them. No trial, nothing. In fact, they don't even know what they have done. They were taken to court and they were remanded, and that was the last time they were in court. No, if we have that at home, the international body, they see all these things. Those African nations, they see all these things. Now, if they see that even your own leaders, your own government don't give regards to you as a citizen, now tell me how we want to fight for our people in diaspora. Tell me how we want to talk to any government, how we want to use our might as giants of Africa, in quote, on those people. What is the GDP of Ivory Coast? How many are they? 24 something million, about thereabout. They are not even Lagos State population of Lagos State. So what are we talking about? Every state, and we here Africans, we go everywhere, the Asian, the Europe, the Americans, everywhere, and there's issue with an African person. Now, even in Africa, among ourselves. There's no love, there's no unity. We still, because for this particular incident, it is sad. Like we are talking about Itunu, there are several hundreds of Itunu in that same prison, and in every other African nations. So what is our government doing? What, seriously, the leadership here? Because if they see that you don't joke with your people in your own country, no one will try it. You want to, we can see, we see Americans there, we see one person, just one American citizen. You remember what happened the other time, people that were, kidnapped.
That they came to,
they took them.
To rescue them.
That is people that value their citizens. Do we have that here? Because if we don't show it, these people, they see. Whatever we do within ourselves, they see us. And when they see this thing, they know that nothing will come out from it. Those ones that they don't even care about their citizens, are they the one that want to come to, they will make noise, they will say they are doing so, and in the end, the truth is we may not hear anything on this matter after this time. The autopsy will come and they will say it's a natural cause of death or something, they will blow some grammar and that will be it. And more, there are a lot of people.
But we can't continue like that.
It's sad that we can't continue like that. Then we need to start. They need to see us. They need to see that we value our people. They need to see that life is important. They need to see that our leaders know that, okay, every Nigerian is important. No one is more Nigerian than other. The same way, the continent, because the might we have in this continent, you can't underestimate it. So why can't we use that power? Why, when Nigerian coughs, why can't every other African nations
catch colds?
Catch colds. But we have played to their hands, to the gallery, because we look so irresponsible to some of them, and that is why they will take us for granted. That is why any African nations, we care not about our Nigeria, every Nigeria, anywhere you go. Once you mention that you're in Nigeria, you're in trouble. You heard what he said, what Dr. said, that there was an allegation that he said when she got there, they told her that, you in Nigeria, you would die here.
Die here.
No. So that's the reason why I'm asking for a thorough investigation on this matter. Everyone that is involved, if this allegation is found to be true, then they should pay for it.
Right.
So that if we insist and we get it done, then every other African nation or everywhere in the world, they will know that we don't joke with our people. But if we just let it go, I don't think we want to start.
Now, where does holding government to account with regards to citizenship come in, Dipo, quickly, before we let you go?
It comes in every area, and I believe that's what we're trying to do here as well. Yes, we need to hold government accountable, and government needs to be responsible. They also need to be responsive to the issues of their people. He's talked about the United States. They have a wide array of issues over there as well. They have institutionalized racism. However, if you are an American and you happen to be a black American and you get into trouble somewhere, you get the full weight of the government behind you to come get you, or to come save you, or to come rescue you, or to come render some form of assistance. Doesn't mean that when you get back home, maybe a week after, you don't get gunned down by a police officer. That's a different conversation. But what I'm trying to say is, as Nigeria, we have a lot of waste to throw around. We need to throw it around. Enough is enough. We need to stop cowering around whatever reputation we believe we have, Giant of Africa, or whatever that is. By now, I expect that the ambassador of Côte d'Ivoire to Nigeria should be put on notice already, and they should know that whatever the investigation reveals, there will be consequences. That is how to throw your weight around.
All right, we'll leave the conversation here now. Thank you so much, strategy consultant Dipo Oyewole, for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and we must thank you, lawyer and social commentator Olayinka Ola Daniels, for your time.
Thank you for
as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.